Hi everybody, welcome back to Sunshine Soap and Candle Company. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to make a makeup setting spray. Now for those of you who are unfamiliar, a setting spray is one that you spray all over your face after you put on makeup, and it just sets the makeup in place and gives you a more skin-like appearance and less like you have makeup on your face. Just gives you kind of a natural dewy glow. I have grown really fond of setting sprays, especially as I've gotten older. You know, we do lose our natural oils as we get older in our skin, and setting spray just kind of gives you back that kind of glowy look. And I'm really fond of the Fix It makeup setting spray by MAC Makeup. My daughter and I really like this one. It's just a really lightweight setting spray that doesn't feel sticky on your skin after you use it. Actually, this is my formula that's sitting here in this bottle. We ran out of the MAC Fix It spray several weeks back, and I decided to try my hand at formulating my own in the likeness of this one, and I'm really liking this. So is my daughter. So I'm going to be sharing with you my version today of the MAC Makeup Fix It spray. In this video today, I'm going to be going over my full visual process and step-by-step tutorial. If you would like the full written recipe with amounts, percentages, and a full step-by-step detailed tutorial, along with links to where I've purchased everything for this project, head on over to my Patreon campaign, join the community, and see what it's all about. There are hundreds of recipes for you to take advantage of over there. Just at the $5 level, you have access to almost everything I've ever published. So I hope that you'll click the link and find out what thousands of other makers have come to love about my campaign. All right, everybody, let's get started. All right, so this formula has a phase A and a phase B. We're gonna start off by just weighing all the phase A ingredients into this container. So the first ingredient we're weighing off is distilled water. Now, distilled water is the bulk of our formula here, and it is used as a solvent for all of the ingredients in phase A. So keep in mind when you're purchasing a setting spray at the store or at a makeup store, like this one here costs $36 for 100 grams. That's 3.4 ounces roughly. And we're going to be able to make this something very similar for much less expensive. However, we will talk about packaging a little bit later as well. So packaging has a lot to do with how nice and even this type of formula comes out onto your skin. So that is also something that probably does affect the cost, is this particular spray bottle itself. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and weigh off some propanediol 1,3. Now, this is a humectant, and the reason why we're going to be using two humectants today, but we're using propanediol 1,3 for a couple reasons. It is a humectant that is not as sticky as glycerin. We are going to be adding a little bit of glycerin in here, but I was really going for a humectant is something that draws moisture to your skin. It's an ingredient that draws moisture from the air to your skin. It's also going to give you that glowy and kind of dewy look. And too much glycerin in a water-based formula like this can feel rather sticky. So we are going to add a combination of propanediol and glycerin. And propanediol also acts as a solvent. But as you can see, it's much less viscous than glycerin, and still going to give you some wonderful humectant properties. And this is a way to add in more humectant without a sticky feeling on your skin. So with lots of water in your formula, just know that a high water content formula, you're going to feel the glycerin a lot more than you would feel glycerin in something that's emulsified. So we're going to go ahead and weigh off the glycerin now. Here goes the glycerin. Again, it's just a co-humectant here. and they work together beautifully. So we're going to go ahead and give this a little bit of a stir, get that mixed in. And then the next thing we're going to add in here is some D-L-panthenol. This is a powdered form of pro vitamin B. This is really good for your skin. So this formula that I've created is a combination setting spray and skincare product, meaning all the ingredients in this formula are going to have a benefit to your skin as well as act as a great setting spray. So we're going to go ahead and add in our D-L-panthenol. This is going to give you some skin soothing and skin brightening effects. Perfect. And we're going to go ahead and stir that and allow the panthenol to just dissolve. Next up, we're going to be adding in some extracts. So we're going to add in, now you can swap out these extracts if you like for other water-soluble extracts. Today I've chosen 3 here that I'm going to talk about why I'm using these specific ones. But the first one I'm going to be adding in is some bamboo extract. Bamboo is great for skin strengthening. It's mineral rich and it's also skin soothing. So we're going to add in a little bit of bamboo extract. I got this one from Wholesale Supplies Plus. This is great for hair care products as well. The next extract we're going to add in is some dragon fruit extract. The dragon fruit extract also works in tandem with the vitamin B12, the panthenol. It's great for its skin brightening properties. It's also antioxidant rich, so it's going to bring some antioxidants to this formula. This one I got from Formulator Sample Shop. It is an extract that is dispersed into glycerin. So we want to be careful not to use too much more humectant type properties, but it will dissolve nicely into the water. Perfect. Now we're going to go ahead and give that a little bit of a stir. Okay. The last ingredient for phase A is going to be some of this Fission Hydra Chest. You guys have seen me use this recently in a ceramide lotion tutorial. This is great for your skin. It has hydrolyzed pea protein and it has also hyaluronic acid. So you get a lot of bang for your buck. So we're going to go ahead and add this in. This is going to add advanced moisturizing to this product. So this is going to bring some moisturizing properties to your skin in a different way than glycerin. You could replace this with something like hydrolyzed silk or any other type of protein. Baobab protein, anything like that would be nice as well. Okay, giving this a stir to combine. We're going to set aside our phase A, and then we're going to go ahead and weigh off our phase B ingredients. So we're going to be using a little bit of fragrance oil here. So we do need to make sure that we have enough solvent in this formula so that it stays totally homogeneous as well as clear. Okay, so the first thing we're going to add to this phase B is some PEG 40 hydrogenated castor oil. So this is going to act as the solubilizer to our oil, but the reason I'm using this, and I'm going to be using another solvent as well, the reason I'm using this is because it's going to give your skin a smooth skin feel, a velvety smooth skin feel, which is important in a formula like this. So we're going to go ahead and weigh off what we need here. Got a little bit too much. It is quite a viscous product, but once you mix in your fragrance oil, it becomes much less viscous. All right. So the next thing we're going to be adding in is some polysorbate 20. Now we're using polysorbate 20 as a co-solubilizer with the PEG 40 hydrogenated castor oil. This is also going to help keep the formula crystal clear looking. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and add in our fragrance oil. Now, a couple notes on the fragrance oil. All right, so we've been using my formula now for a few weeks, and my daughter had some feedback. And the more I thought about what she said, the more I kind of started to agree with what she said. So in our usage of this, she has noticed that the fragrance is a little bit too strong, and she's not totally a fan of the fragrance. Now, I like the fragrance that I used in this one. But I do agree with her that it probably could be toned down a bit. So I'm going to be using less of a different fragrance in this formula. And I'll also be giving you guys a fragrance-free version of this formula. So if you go over to my campaign and you download this formula, I'm going to be sharing this one along with a fragrance-free version. So we're going to go ahead and add in a little bit of this. This is Tahitian Sunset by Hive and Honey. It's a really light, beautifully light, kind of airy vanilla. It kind of reminds me of Warm Vanilla Sugar by Bath and Body Works, but a little sweeter, and even I would say a little bit lighter than that. And we're going to be using it, and the reason I chose this one is because it is such a light fragrance, and it's important not to have so much fragrance and something that's going to go onto your face, especially close to your nose, because then you're going to be smelling it, and if you are sensitive to that, it's not a very nice experience. So we're going to go ahead and add in a little bit of fragrance here. Just a little. This will help keep the product smelling fresh and just give you a little burst of fragrance as you're spraying it on. But then you shouldn't smell it after that. It shouldn't linger on your skin the way a perfume would or anything like that. But for those of you that would prefer to keep it fragrance free, again, I'll be providing that formula fragrance free over on my campaign along with this one. So all I'm going to do is take my spatula here, and I am combining the hydrogenated castor oil with the fragrance and the polysorbate the polysorbate 20. And I'm creating just a little bit of a slurry, kind of like a syrup, before I go ahead and add it into my Phase A container. This is just helping to solubilize that little bit of fragrance oil so that when we add it into our formula here, we're going to get a nice and homogeneous end product. Okay, just making sure everything's well blended. I'm going to move my scale out of the way for a second here so you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in my phase B. There's one more ingredient in phase B, but we're going to add it in. I guess we could consider it a phase C. We're going to be adding in a preservative here in just a minute. So just getting this added in. Let me know in the comments if you use a setting spray and if it has a fragrance. Now the one from MAC that I showed you earlier, they used to have one that they don't have it anymore. The one that this one here had just kind of a fresh, like nondescript smell. I don't know what it smelled like really. It just kind of had like a fresh, definitely some fragrance was added to it, but nothing I could really pinpoint. It just smelled kind of fresh and clean. They used to sell a coconut scented one that I really liked. They don't do that anymore. That's the one thing with MAC makeup. I've noticed that I will buy products from them and get really attached to what it is, and their products really last a long time. I've noticed, like, especially like their under eye concealers that last for a really long time, and then by the time I'm ready to go and buy another one, they have discontinued it. So that's always something that I find with MAC, especially. They have had several products that I've really fallen in love with that just, when I go back to go get it, they just don't carry it anymore. I really liked the coconut fragrance that they had, and I believe they used to have another one that was rose scented, but I was always really attached to the coconut one. So just giving this a good stir to combine, making sure that everything is looking homogeneous. Sometimes that hydrogenated castor oil, the PEG 40, can get a little bit stringy. So I'm just making sure that's totally combined. Now you might be wondering why we had a need for 2 solvents here for that little bit of fragrance that I used. And the answer is because I really wanted this to have a perfect skin feel and not have a sticky, tacky type feeling. And so I didn't want to use all polysorbate 20 to solubilize. So I balanced it out with the PEG 40 hydrogenated castor oil, like I said earlier, just to give it that beautiful, velvety, smooth skin feel. But again, I didn't want to add too much of the hydrogenated castor oil, because then I didn't want my formula also to have a hard time coming through the spray nozzle here. So that's very important as well. So the last thing we're going to do is go ahead and add in our preservative. There's a little chunk of hydrogenated castor oil in here, just trying to get that nice and blended in before we move on. Okay, so last we're going to go ahead and add in the preservative. We're using a little bit of liquid Germall Plus. It's a water-soluble preservative. It's great for a wide range of pHs. So by the way, this is about a 4.6, 4.7 pH, making it perfect for facial care, and that means you don't have to do any adjusting either. So it's perfect. Anywhere between a 4.5 and a 5.5 would be great for this type of formula. So liquid Germall Plus is good for formulas between a 4 and an 8. So this is just a good one to use for here for this one. So we're going to go ahead and get a little bit in there. Okay. We're going to go ahead and stir that in to combine. Gorgeous. Now I'm waiting on some fine mist sprayers to come in, actually, in the mail, because equally as important to this formula having a great skin feel, it's also the type of sprayer that you're using. So this formula, which honestly might be why sometimes when you buy these things at the store, even though they have a large water content, they are more expensive, because I don't know where you can find a sprayer like this that has like an atomizer top. It's really actually more difficult to find than you would think, because a lot of the atomizer tops are used in perfume bottles, which aren't totally appropriate for this type of formula. But this is a 100-gram bottle with a beautiful atomizer on it, so it's going to give you a nice, even, fine mist. So if you get something that's not fine mist enough, it's going to get your skin too wet, and sometimes it can leave little blobs or dollops of the formula into certain sections on your skin. So for this type of formula, it's very important to just have something with a very fine mister on it. So I've ordered some that I think might work, but they're not in yet. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this into a bottle like this. This is a little bit heavier of a mist than I like, but still a fine mist. So I'll be right back. All right. So as you can see, my formula has come up nice and clear, looking beautiful and homogeneous. And we're just going to go ahead and pour it into this little spray bottle. These ones I use for hair and body mist sprays. Yeah, but I'll give you a little bit of a use demo as well so you guys can see the difference. Hopefully this won't be too heavy of a spray on the face, but we're going to give it a try. I'll show you both this one and this one. All right, I'm going to demonstrate with this one first because I really like the nice even spray that this bottle gives, and then we'll show you this one here. So, you know, you can use this throughout the day too, anytime you want a little extra hydration or just a little refresh of your makeup. So all you're going to do is just hold it a few inches away from your skin and just kind of spray it on all over your face, over your makeup, and just allow it to kind of dry. And then it just kind of gives you a beautiful kind of dewy glow finish, but not sticky or tacky at all. So I'm going to go ahead and give this one a try in this type of spray bottle. I'm going to give you my honest review on this because it might be a little bit too heavy of a spray, but let's go ahead and give it a try. Let me prime this bottle here. Okay, much more of a heavy spray than this one. So, you know, less is more. A little bit of sprays goes a long way versus this one where you can kind of spray all over. You could make this work by maybe like spraying in the air. I've done this before. Just kind of misting your face through it. That'll help you get a lighter spray if this is the only option that you have available to you. But either way, it's a beautiful formula. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me some comments and questions below. Let me know if you make this. I'm really curious to see how you like it. If you're someone that uses makeup setting sprays, how it compares to your favorite brands, let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and share this video with a friend. All right, everyone, keep shining. Bye.